Anyway, that said, Microsoft made a business move.
Yeah.
Honestly, like this is not even like this is not untainted, you know? Like this story for like 2 or 3 different reasons is also fairly thorny. I mean, the story is that they shut down Mixer out of nowhere. Or are shutting down, I guess.
It's
the platform
it's one more month.
Technically still up for, what is it,
July 22nd will be when Mixer shuts down. That's, of course, the former Beam.pro, which Microsoft purchased and changed the name of because they didn't own they couldn't trademark it in every territory, I think was the story around why they couldn't stick with Beam.pro.
That was a pretty good name for a streaming service.
It's a good name. It was a real good name. So, them doing something with Mixer, I guess, isn't the hugest surprise, other than you kind of thought Microsoft would be big enough to just stick with it. But as people dug into the numbers after this announcement and saw like kind of what audiences were doing on Mixer, I think we were just having a conversation. I was just having a conversation with someone about like Ninja and some of these other people that signed to Mixer exclusive deals, and the notion of just like, man, this doesn't seem like it worked out. Like they did not bring the numbers to Microsoft's service. They did not help that service grow. And it was that notion of just like, well, hopefully they're saving their money, because at the end of this deal, I doubt Microsoft will back the truck up again with more tens of millions of dollars.
Because I guess they showed that even they, being the biggest names in the game, couldn't bring those numbers right to the platform.
Right. They did not peel enough people off of Twitch to make Mixer happen.
At the same time, like, correct me if I'm wrong, like they got their contracts paid out off of this, right?
My understanding is, I believe it was The Verge that reported that. I'm not positive, but that anyone that was under contract to them just got their contract paid out in full.
Of course. Wow. I mean, that's great for the vanishingly small number of people who took 8-figure deals to go over there, but
not so great for people that are Mixer partners, and people that decided to invest in. It's the thing, like Beam.pro had a small but like very dedicated community, and they went through the ringer a little bit and the name change and all this other stuff. But there were people that were proud of being on that platform, and whether they were eking out a living or not, there was a community. There is a community there still that likes that service, and I feel for them. It's easy to say like, oh well, they'll just go to Twitch or whatever. Or, they'll go, like,
you're basically asking somebody to start over, at that point. Like I feel for those people. I don't know how I feel about the phrase like sweat equity, or, that concept. This feels a little bit like crassly commodified in a way, but like they have invested, they've invested time that they can't get back trying to grow an audience on a platform that suddenly doesn't exist.
Well, I guess the one benefit there is that the viewers, it's not like they disappear, but Mixer goes on. And I think that's the difference with some of these people that left Twitch for Mixer is, Mixer goes away at a certain point. So the viewers will have to go somewhere, and maybe that gives them an opportunity to like say, "Hey, I'm here now. I'm moving over here."
That's fair, but
and that they don't start from zero, maybe.
Right. But that is guaranteed to be a pretty like fragmented and messy process.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't imagine anybody is happy about it except for maybe Ninja.
Well, even Ninja now has to figure out like what next, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, that is still probably something of a bidding process where, some of these other services, so I guess the other piece of this is that they're going to redirect Mixer to fucking Facebook gaming.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I don't
which
know.
is bigger than Mixer numbers wise.
Well, sure, but I mean, most things were.
But I feel like Facebook gaming has not seemed like a viable platform for people streaming traditional video games.
I frankly did not know it was a platform. Like, is that what do I type gaming.facebook.com into the browser?
I have no idea, dude.
Let's see if that works.
I don't know. I know some people stream video games on Facebook.
Yes,
that's all I know.
That does direct to a landing page. Whoa!
I'm sorry. I should shoot him in the leg.
You couldn't hear that, but I'm sure the stream did. Should be careful about clicking on streams in the middle of broadcasting this thing. But yeah, so that does direct to a landing page that does look quite a bit like a Twitch or a Mixer or whatever. And I've seen them out there signing deals with some streamers I had not heard of previously. So like they were making it a
Facebook
thing.
has been trying to like build a roster of exclusive talent and do that thing. And you know, people that were partners on Mixer will, you know, if they do transition to Facebook Gaming, they become partners there, and so there's some status stuff and things that like Facebook is trying to roll out some form of red carpet to people that met that bar on Mixer to try to keep them there. But honestly, it's really hard for me to envision a scenario where most of those streamers don't just go right to Twitch. I think the thing we learned from Ninja, and the thing that I think, you know, other people have tried to do this on YouTube in the past, and it was something that we always wondered about, if this was something that was going to be like the Twitch audience. Does the Twitch audience come off of like, what do they care about first? Do they care about Ninja, or do they care about the Twitch ecosystem? And I think what the Mixer deal proved is they'll just find somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, like, not to say Ninja's bad at what he did, or, you know, or whatever. Like, I'm not, you know, speaking qualitatively here. Just that I think that audience has proved time and time again that if someone gets banned, if someone gets moved somewhere else and is like, hey, come follow me here, like, none of those people are bigger than the platform. Right. None of those people are bigger than the ecosystem. There will be a new Fortnite streamer next year.
Also, none of those people are bigger than the form, right? Like, like there's only so much distinction between different people sitting in front of a video game and playing it, right? And I include ourselves in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. You know, it's like you can put on as many fucking fake mustaches as you want. You're still doing that thing.
Right. And also, like, I suspect that people even only care about the platform so much, right?
Right.
Like, 100%.
Like people, you know, I imagine even the people that continue going to Twitch and just find another streamer are largely still going to Twitch out of like inertia, right? Like there's just, it's not because they like bleed purple or whatever, right? It's just because like there's no compelling reason for them to go to Facebook Gaming. There's like not.
Yeah, or they've already put money into the platform in the form of subscriptions or bits or whatever, and they have a handful of people they watch. And so like if they watch 8 channels and one of them leaves, they're like, whatever. Like, I'm still over here.
Right.
Yeah, I think you could say the same thing about like other platforms. I know a bunch of people that are still prefer SoundCloud as their place where they grab music. And like if someone were to leave and go to a different service, it's like, well, whatever, I'll follow these other DJs instead. You know, that void fills very quickly.
Totally. And you know, there's no shortage of content in those sorts of spaces. And I think, you know, it's the same type deal about people that get big on YouTube and then think like, man, it sure would be nice if we could pivot into some kind of subscription service or pivot into some other kind of thing here, and finding that like maybe their conversion rates are not what they thought they would be. And honestly, I think that like seeing that happen is one of the things that makes me only want to go so far with external services as it regards to our stuff. I mean, if we were full in on YouTube or full in on Twitch or something like that, but actually, you know, with the nature of what we do, it'd probably be YouTube in this example. We could reach more people than we reach right now. If we were 100% YouTube focused, we could be bigger than we are right now. There's also the potential that we could be bringing in more money than we do right now. But you then are shooting any kind of external, like, you know, like right now we get to kind of run our own thing to a certain extent, and it gives us certain freedoms with the type of content we can do, and being able to be away from some of the content ID mess and not having to care about that stuff as much. And but that's because we built it that way from the beginning. I think I guess to just kind of illustrate my point, it's like the idea of like, you know, if you are YouTube first and then try to pivot out of it, that's a lot harder than us being able to kind of put a toe in as much as we want and go like, you know, it'd be nice if we were bigger on Twitch. It'd be great if we were bigger on YouTube. But all that is still in service of like, that only matters if it then leads to people kind of coming back to us and potentially signing up for our premium service. You know, like that's the business, right? So So yeah, when a platform like Mixer shuts down and those people get scattered to the wind, like it's a weird. It feels like a weird non-opportunity of like now everyone that streamed to Mixer that isn't getting paid out on some huge deal is left to kind of fend for themselves to a certain extent and decide like, do they want to take whatever olive branch Facebook Gaming is going to give them,
right,
to see if they can maintain there, which I honestly I'm not super optimistic about. Given the audiences, I feel like the age range that we're talking about here, I'm not left with the impression that like the typical audience for video game live streams, and speaking also somewhat from experience, that they want to be on Facebook ever.
Yeah.
Instagram at most. But even then, these days, I feel like that's, Instagram maybe isn't what it used to be either.
Yeah. Not to get super tangential or far afield of this topic, but my impression from keeping up with the tech press is that Facebook is facing kind of a like a long-term audience retention crisis, right?
Yeah,
I think the attrition.
Like what new users are like waking up one morning and go like, all right, it's time for me to sign up for Facebook. Like, that's not happening. Like, is someone like a 14-year-old, is like a 13-year-old, are they waking up and going like, all my friends are on Facebook? It's like, I need to be friends with my grandmother. Let's go to Facebook. Like, it's
just call your grandma.
Totally. Paraphrase a Twitter joke. It's just boomers guzzling propaganda from Freedom Eagle or whatever, right?
Oh my god.
Anyway, whatever. I don't want to get too far in that direction.
I'm still on Facebook. I'm still on Facebook.
I should have. The only thing that stopped me from deactivating or deleting my account years ago was just the legacy cruft of like, what if I want to go back and read the people wishing me happy birthday from 7 years ago at some point or something,
I think for me, it's like we still technically have a page on Facebook for whatever that's worth, and maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. Yeah. And also there are a handful of people that I don't keep up with any other way.
Sure.
Yeah. And there's that, whether it's like family members and
that's fair.
There's like that little chunk of people that's like, okay, like they're not on Twitter. They're not on some of these other, they're not going to send me a DM on Discord. They're not, that's just not going to happen. So, that's kind of the only way to keep up with a certain amount of family stuff, which honestly, some of that stuff I should
maybe also better off without. I don't know.
Y'all just out there exposing themselves. It's just like, maybe I shouldn't have, but I thought you were better than this.
Anyway, like I don't know, the Mixer thing.
5G. Anyway,
the Mixer thing is just like an extreme illustration of the riskiness of kind of pinning all your hopes on the whims of a giant corporation, right? Like you see the similar stuff with like YouTube changing the way that they're, I don't know, the way their ad monetization works or algorithm stuff or whatever. Like you see just like people in mass just like freaking out about their livelihoods because somebody high up at a giant company made a decision to change something, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's YouTube once a week. I feel like there's just some different aspect of just like these videos are getting demonetized, and it's just like, all right, well, why? And YouTube never quite, even when they try to explain why, they never quite explain why.
Yeah.
So with how out of the blue this was, do you think they told like their major partners like a Ninja?
Well, those guys probably, I would think.
Yeah, they probably had to be like
contractually they probably had to. But again, how many people is that? It's Ninja and Shroud and ...
That's all I can think of. Yeah,
like maybe one or two
other deals, but
people at that tier.
Yeah, I'd seen some posts from like smaller partners just being absolutely devastated and stuff.
Or even just employees on that division that were just like caught off guard by
like
it.
It seems like nobody outside of whatever Microsoft upper management at Mixer had an inkling about this stuff. It just happened out of nowhere.
So and oftentimes companies make moves that way, right? As the people that are going to be the most affected by it are not told until it is happening, for reasons of like, it can't leak or this or that, or whatever the reasons are. A lack of trust in those employees at the end of the day that you're about to let go. So why would they trust you anyway? It's a mess. It's a bummer. I think the Mixer tech was really good, and we tried to switch to it here and there, just when we were doing external streams or whatever.
Yeah.
We tried to use it. We would get some complaints here and there from people who were just like maybe the mixer tech, like the mixer player was a little too heavy for older computers, and that they would run into some issues. But
this is maybe a sad reflection of how I spend my time these days, but I do wonder what's going to happen to that FTL protocol, that super low latency protocol they came up with.
Yeah. Well, Twitch's tech got better too. Like their latency is lower than it was. YouTube's is lower than it was. Like
everybody's working in that direction for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, the mixer technology was fascinating and cool.
Yeah.
And but Microsoft couldn't make it work on. They were never gonna. It was never gonna catch Twitch. I feel like they took their best shots by going and plucking major Twitch streamers to try to put some shine on that service, or give people more reasons to check it out. And they built it into games. Like, what happens to Forza Horizon with its like influence? Like, you earn influence points by streaming it to Mixer, or some of these other things. Like, they tried a handful of different ways to even just integrating it into the Xbox One at a relatively high level. And
yeah, like that totally raises the question of like, I mean, granted, we don't know what the Series X dashboard is going to look like, but is there going to be a big fat Facebook gaming tab at the top of it?
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. And I guess they said also that this, the goal is to get Project XCloud stuff in front of the Facebook audience and kind of go that way with it.
Interesting.
That would be one of the other parts of this deal, or this kind of arrangement that they've done with Facebook, is to try to reach that audience. Which if a lot of the people on Facebook gaming are streaming mobile games and free to play and stuff, and you suddenly lower the bar to entry to other video games to that crowd, maybe that's meaningful.
That actually, when you put it that way, makes this choice make a lot more sense, because like obviously Google has a direct competitor to XCloud,
right?
Amazon / Twitch, like it feels like you're just waiting for them to announce something similar,
right?
So like Facebook obviously is not in the Stadia style, they're not in that market, so like they probably figured that was the place to promote that stuff. But
but at the same time, I think doing a deal with Facebook right now doesn't look great.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, right. I mean,
yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like it was incredibly abrupt and unceremonious for people who work at Mixer. Like this seems to be entirely coincidental, but there's some talk of some kind of like racist practices in the management at the company, or like hours before this stuff happened.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, everybody involved came out and said, hey, this closure has nothing to do with that, because obviously, I mean, of course it didn't.
Yeah.
Like, you don't make a decision like that in 12 hours.
No, if that's the problem, you eliminate the person, not the product. Yeah. It's, this is a larger thing. But of course, obviously, like, to that end, Twitch doesn't always seem like it's done right by its streamers and protected their partners and all that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff around that as well. So.
Yeah. So, I guess that covers all that.
Seems like it.
Pretty abrupt thing, just out of nowhere yesterday.